Somebody said, I would just love, a ministerial person. I would love ministry if it wasn't for the people. Well, that's great, but there's no ministry without people. You don't give up, and that's why the people need ministry. Don't give up on your calling and don't give up on your ministry no matter what. If you're only going to do it when it feels good to do it, you're not going to make it. Or when it's not, you're going to do it when it's not challenging. No, you won't fulfill it. Or if you're only going to do it when you walk perfectly, that's not going to work either because you're going to mess up. Get up and finish your calling. Paul had to remind himself again and again of all that God did for him, of all how God called him. He said, I still remember. The end of his life, he's talking about Damascus Road. He never forgot what God did and how God said to him, I've called you, Paul. He had to remember that when he was in prison. He had to remember that when he was abandoned. Remind yourself of all that God did for you, what he saved you from, how far he took you. Remember that. Paul went through a shipwreck, arrest, beating, persecution, rejection, death threats, imprisonments, attack from inside the body, other believers, betrayal, gossip, abandonment, and more. But he kept reminding himself, but God called me, the greatest of sinners, called me on that road and said, arise and serve me. I have called you, Paul. And he's saying, so Paul always reminded him. He says, and he kept going. He never stopped. I'm not looking back. I'm not stopping. And it's not who's with me now or who's against me. It's about whom I'm with and whom I am following. He kept his hands to the plow, and he finished the course. You do likewise. Never give up on the calling and the ministry. God called you each like he called them. You were maybe standing by the Galilee, but you were somewhere, and God started coming into your life and calling you just as he called them. You are called as much as Peter and Paul were called.